Alright, so before we get into the video, I just want to show you guys something real quick. 96% of you guys are not subscribed, and that is
No bueno.
if you do see this video and you keep seeing me in your recommendations, you know, like the featured or whatever, make sure you hit that subscribe button because it only takes 2 seconds and it does help motivate me to make more videos for you guys because I truly do like making videos. But let's get into the video. This is part 3 of grading and recapping every team's offseason so far. If you have not watched the other 2 videos about the AFC and the NFC North and the South, go check this out real quick and then come back to this video. But today's video, you already seen the title, you already seen the thumbnail and all that cool little cheese stuff. We're going to be doing it about the NFC and the AFC East. And there's a couple teams that did completely nothing. And there's a couple teams that did really good. So let's get into it. Starting off with the team that definitely went all in this offseason is the Dallas Cowboys. And now this Dallas Cowboys got completely smacked by my Green Bay Packers, which was a blessing to see. But during this offseason, they definitely went all in, you know, for sure. Their main additions, before I get into that, their main coaching change is Mike Zimmer. He is now the defensive coordinator, and their main addition this year was literally owning Eric Kendricks. And this defense actually wasn't that bad last year. They had a really good year last year, but when it came to the Packers, they looked like a little high school team. But that's their only addition. Their main losses was Dorrance Armstrong, Tyler Biadasz, I don't know how to pronounce his name, he was a center, Tony Pollard, Tyron Smith, Dante Fowler Jr., and Leighton Vander Esch. He ended up retiring. And this, this is the big blow for like most of their defensive line. A couple offensive linemen left for the Cowboys, and this is definitely one of the worst off seasons I think I've seen the Cowboys have. They're about $6 million under the cap, and the team's still really good for sure. Don't get me wrong, they're gonna be playoff contenders this year for sure, but they definitely did not go all in this season or this upgrade or their offseason grade, is definitely an F. If it's anything over a D, I think I'm pushing too much. So definitely an F. Cowboys are still a really good team, though. Now, the Washington Commanders are the next team we're going to be talking about. Now, they had a lot of moves this offseason. Let's start with the coaching. Their head coach is now Dan Quinn. He is from the Cowboys. He was the defensive coordinator for them. They got a new GM in Adam Peters, in which he was from the 49ers. He seems like a really good GM. The new offensive coordinator is Cliff Kingsbury, a former Arizona Cardinals head coach. Defensive coordinator is Joe Witt Jr. and the special teams coordinator is Larry Lizzo. They completely revamped the coaching, and I really do like it. Now, their main additions, it's actually funny enough that, they stole 3 Cowboys players, and Dorrance Armstrong, that Tyler Biadasz guy, I don't know how to say his name again, and Dante Fowler Jr., I think that's pretty funny. But their other main additions were Frankie Louvu, Nick Allegretti, Austin Eckler, Bobby Wagner, and Marcus Mariota. They definitely added a lot of pieces to their main weaknesses, but they are older players, but still pretty good signings. Their main subtractions, their main losses is Curtis Samuel, Sam Howell, Kendall Fuller, Antonio Gibson, Cameron Curl, and Jacoby Brissett. Now, the Washington Commanders are about $43 million under the cap, so they have a lot of money for the next couple of years for sure. And I think that the signings they did, even though they're older players, I think that they're, well proven to be really good, like Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu. This defense definitely improved, and their defense last year was definitely one of the worst in the NFL last year. With that trade with the Seattle Seahawks, trading Sam Howell to the Seahawks, now they got 2 third-round picks and 2 fifth-round picks. I actually recapped that trade in a couple other videos ago, and I think that the Washington Commanders did really good in that trade. I definitely give their offseason grade an A. If they can really hit this draft, they have like second or third best draft capital in this draft. If they can do really good, this team is going to be good in the next couple of years. Maybe not this year, but we'll see in the next couple of years. So yeah, an A for them. The Philadelphia Eagles, one of the best teams last year, well, at least through 11 weeks, and then they fell off the face of the earth. They had actually a pretty good offseason as well. Their main additions were the coaching. They got a new offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, and their defensive coordinator is Vic Fangio. I think that these are 2 well-proven guys in the league. Kellen Moore, he was with the Cowboys. I think he was with the Chargers last year. Still a really good offensive coordinator. And Vic Fangio, his name already speaks for itself. Their main additions were Kenny Pickett, Bryce Huff, of course, Saquon Barkley, CJ Gardner-Johnson, and Devin White. Their main losses were, of course, the big blows on the retirement, Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox, DeAndre Swift, Kevin Byard, and Marcus Mariota. Now, the Eagles are about $31 million under the cap, so they still got a lot of money for the next couple of years. And I think that they definitely improved their running back, and now their offense is going to be really, really, really good as long as Hurts can kind of come back to, his normal self. And their defense, they still need help in the secondary, but, their D-line's still really good. They got a couple of good linebackers now. Devin White, he's a mediocre linebacker at best, but it's better than what they had before. I give the Eagles an A- here, and like I said, they completely addressed the offensive and the defensive coordinator, and I really like what they did this offseason, so an A- for them. The last NFC East team we are going to be talking about is the New York Giants, and now their main coach changes were the defensive coordinator. Shane Bowen is now their defensive coordinator. Their main additions were Brian Burns, John Rungan, Devin Singletary, Jermaine Eluemunor, I don't know how to say his name either, and Drew Lock, but their main subtractions were, of course, Saquon Barkley, Xavier McKinney, Ashawn Robertson, and Tyrod Taylor. They're about $8 million under the cap, and the team definitely downgraded a little bit. They did really good with the Brian Burns trade. I also recapped that in my trade video. I think they completely won that trade, but when it comes to everything else, like the John Runyon, Devin Singletary replacement for Saquon Barkley, I think they're complete downgrades. I think they overpaid a little bit for both of those players. I give their offseason a C-, and we still don't know what's going on with the quarterback position, what they're going to do in the draft and all that. So their offseason is kind of whack right now, besides the Brian Burns trade. Moving on to the other side of New York. Well, I guess not the other side, it's the same stadium. The Jets we're going to be talking about of the AFC East. Their main additions were Hassan Reddick, Morgan Moses, Mike Williams, Tyron Smith, John Simpson, Tyrod Taylor, and Javon Kinlaw. And their main subtractions were Bryce Huff, Jordan Whitehead, and Quinton Jefferson. And now the Jets are about $2 million under the cap, and this team 100% got better throughout the offseason. Now, granted, they are older players, especially on the offensive line like Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses, but they still got really good. They upgraded their wide receiver by adding Mike Williams. I definitely give the Jets an A here. Now, granted, they're definitely in win now mode, and if they can't get anything going this year, like especially if Aaron Rodgers is healthy all year, all of their coaching, the GMs, whatever, are getting no bueno out of here. So, but the Jets obviously graded A. The Miami Dolphins are the next team we're going to be talking about. They definitely had a lot of transaction during this offseason. With the defensive coordinator, they got a new defensive coordinator as in Anthony Weaver. Their main additions were Jordan Brooks, Aaron Brewer, Kendall Fuller, Johnny Smith, Shaquille Barrett, and Jordan Poyer. And now their main subtractions were the big dogs, Christian Wilkins, Robert Hunt, Andrew Van Keikel, Brandon Jones, Raekwon Davis, Jerome Baker, and Cedric Wilson. And now the Miami Dolphins are about $4 million under the cap right now. They had to do a lot of moves in order to create more cap space. And now, granted, Christian Wilkins was a big blow, but their team is still really, really good condition. I think they're going to end up releasing Xavier Hayward or one of the cornerbacks later in the future. But this team is still in really, really good shape. I really do give their offseason grade a B+. Like I said, it definitely does hurt losing Christian Wilkins, but they kind of replaced him by adding a couple of linebackers. They added the replacement guard to replace Robert Hunt. This team is still going to be really, really good for the next couple of years. Well, they should be. So, B+ for them. The New England Patriots are also a team that had a lot of changes, definitely with their coaching. Now, Bill Belichick has finally, well, he hasn't retired yet, but he should be. Their new head coach is Gerard Mayo. Of course, he came from within the organization. Their new defensive coordinator is DeMarcus Covington, and their offensive coordinator is Alex Van Pelt. Their main additions were Antonio Gibson, Jacoby Brissett, KJ Osborne, Austin Hooper, and Chukwuma Okafor. And now their main losses were, of course, Mac Jones, Mac Wilson, Trenton Brown, Mike Gesicki, and Devontae Parker. Now, the Patriots are about $47 million under the cap, and they're definitely a team that is like kind of looking already forward to the 2025 year, and this team still has a lot of holes. They do have the number 3 pick in the draft. I think they should trade down, but who knows what they're going to do exactly. Definitely still need a quarterback. I give their offseason grade a B-. I think that really getting rid of Bill Belichick, kind of revamping the whole entire coaching system is going to be good for them eventually in the future. So I give them a B- here, even though their main acquisitions weren't as big name players as they want to have. And the last but not least team in the AFC, well, maybe a least team for sure, the freaking Buffalo Bills have definitely had a not too good offseason so far. Their main coaching changes were offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator coach. Joe Brady is now their offensive coordinator coach, and Bobby Babich, I don't know if I'm saying that right or not, but he's now their defensive coordinator. Their main additions were Curtis Samuel, Mitchell Trubisky, Austin Johnson, and Mike Edwards. So, yeah. And then now their main losses, you guys already know. Stephon Diggs, Ryan Bales, Gabe Davis, Leonard Floyd, Mitch Morse, Trey White, Tim Settle, Jordan Poyer, Naheem Mines, and Dane Jackson, and Micah Hyde is still a free agent. They had a lot of losses. Now, if I had to be really honest, this team definitely seems like they're going to be in a rebuild mode. Now, granted, their team's still kind of good, I guess you can say. They have Josh Allen, but when it comes to other weapons, I can't even name them on top of my head. Now they got Curtis Samuel, maybe. I definitely give their offseason grade a D minus. Now, granted, they're kind of in the same boat as the Dolphins, where they had to offload a lot of money. But at least the Dolphins got better players in return. Well, not better players per se, but still good players. The Bills kind of did a whole lot of nothing. So the Bills get a D minus, just in my opinion. They're still a good team, but I think they're kind of rebuilding low key. But that wraps up this video. If you do like it, hit that like button and comment down below your biggest reaction of the NFC and the AFC East teams. And yeah, I'm out of here. Deuces.